So yes, Caitlin Clark has declined as being part of the NBA three-point contest in the All-Star game, but I think we kind of need to calm down, and this is why. So there was a lot of hype in this Battle of the Sexes three-point contest in the NBA All-Star Game, in which people were anticipating Sabrina Ionescu and Caitlin Clark versus like a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Splash Brothers type thing. And it has been reported from Sports Business Journal that Caitlin Clark has declined to be a part of that contest, which has led a lot of people to have their own opinions about this. Some people think Caitlin Clark is too good and she snubbed them, and while others are feeling, yes, this was like the right decision. So let's apply some logic as to why she maybe made this decision. My 2 cents, after weighing the variables involved, I think that this was a decision that Caitlin Clark made to grow the WNBA. And here's why. So according to this article from Sports Business Journal, so Caitlin will not be at the NBA All-Star. Her representatives at Excel Sports Management said in a statement Wednesday. She wants her first three-point contest to be at a WNBA All-Star game in Indianapolis this summer. The NBA asked the Fever Guard to be a part of the Battle of the Sexes shooting contest in San Francisco, which would include Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry. And if you don't know, Sabrina Ionescu did take part in the three-point contest in the last season of the NBA's All-Star Game. And it was a big hit, and Sabrina was quite a splash, no pun intended. The league believed that Clark's involvement would have had mass appeal, but her preference became to wait for the WNBA event at Gainsbridge Arena. At this point in time, it is not like the be-all, end-all final decision. Clark told the NBA she is disinclined to participate in the All-Star three-point contest next month. That could include, Sabrina, Steph, and Klay, according to Sports Business Journal, although indications are that the league is still in discussions with Clark's representatives. Sources said Clark is not interested in shooting three-pointers off the rack, considering her practice regimen consists of catch and shoots, 3 points off the dribble. Unless she is persuaded otherwise, she will decline the invitation. So again, this is just the direction she is heading in, and the decision would be somewhat a blow to the league, which had contemplating moving what they call the Steph versus Sabrina 2.0 on Sunday night of the All-Star weekend to be staged between the second semifinal and championship game over the first ever All-Star tournament in San Francisco. So me reading between the lines in this, I feel like Caitlin Clark has such motion right now in the game of basketball, not just women's basketball, and the NBA is trying to capitalize on that as their ratings are going down, as Clark's are just like skyrocketing. And yes, it would be such a positive impact on the NBA, a nice little crossover, but that crossover can also happen at the WNBA All-Star event in Indianapolis. And Caitlin Clark has always tried to grow the WNBA, whether it's trying to get spot bonuses for other teams, whether it's constantly mentioning other players in a positive net light. And when you weigh the variables of Caitlin Clark and Sabrina versus Steph and Klay, let's just like hypothetically say they lose the three-point contest, which is not something I would be hoping for, but it is a variable that they get a lot of backlash from a lot of NBA fans saying, yeah, see, the W just sucks, like blah, 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 blah. And that wouldn't be a net positive impact. But if Caitlin Clark is able to say, hey, come over to my turf, come over to Indy, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and they participate in the women's, like the WNBA All-Star contest, that would bring a lot of eyes and a lot of popularity. Plus, Caitlin Clark has never taken part in a three-point contest. I think she would want that three-point contest to be like at home in Indiana. It would just be so spectacular. She would be using her motion, her pool, to get viewers and excitement about a WNBA event, therefore just growing the whole league. But listen, this isn't like, oh no, she'll never do it, but as her first time, I think that it's pretty genuine to want to do it in front of a W crowd, not only just a W crowd, but her Indiana crowd. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but it just shows her commitment to growing the WNBA. Amidst all the controversy that the WNBA doesn't care about her, putting aside the fact that no matter what her decision is, she will get backlash from the hater crowd saying that they think she's too good. When to me, what it looks like from just seeing her in the WNBA and watching the way she reacts to everything, she is a human being that I can only see has always just tried to have a positive impact on the WNBA and on the world of women's sports in general, crossing over into golf, never uttering a negative word about anybody in the league amidst a lot of negativity directed her way. She handles situations with such grace. And this is coming from a person who was just interviewed by her hometown reporter in Indiana, made time to do that. Not a huge reporter, but somebody that she knows has been following her since her college days and sets time aside for that, which is a very humble act, in my personal opinion. Not to sound like I'm fanning out too much or anything. I started watching Caitlin Clark for her basketball, and I kept watching, and I just ended up loving the human being that she is. To be completely frank, this is kind of a non-issue, but with Caitlin Clark, there is always opinions, a lot of hating, a lot of loving, and there is never like a reading between the lines of like why something might be happening. And that is where I'm always coming from. So this is just kind of like a my 2 cents hot take on the issue. Take it, leave it, whatever you feel. Oh, and by the way, I would just like to state, as this is probably my 3rd to 4th week on YouTube, that I have been so appreciative of all the positive feedback, and I am still growing and learning and figuring out how to like say things here and having a great time doing it. And I want to thank everybody that does like and comment and has subscribed. Even if you haven't and you just watch my content, I appreciate you being here. And I'm really looking forward to just diving deeper and getting more into women's basketball talk. As wow, so much happened yesterday. So I am just going to do a whole like free agency recap video probably tomorrow. So I will see you then.